Good morning, Year 5, and welcome to our latest maths lesson. Today we are looking at adding 3 or more fractions. So our word of the day is denominator, and today it's going to be slightly different because our first warm-up questions are going to be on the next slide. So I'm going to go straight into those. These are going to be some recap questions. So you'll see the question, I'll talk you through them. Okay, so we have a question here. It says, use the model to add the shaded fractions. So you need to figure out what these represent. So how many parts out of the total number of parts are shaded added to this? What do you think the answer? Do you think it is A, 8/9, B, 8/18, C, 4/9, or D, 10/9? So pause the video, have a quick go at that and restart it when you have your answer. Okay, so first of all, we need to work out what these fractions are. So we can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 parts in total. So that's our denominator. And we have 6 parts shaded. So we have 6/9 here. What same number of parts? We have 9 total, and we have 2 parts shaded. So we are adding these fractions. The denominator stays the same when you're adding. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8/9, so you should have got A as your answer. Another way you could have done it is you could have shaded the number of parts that you had shaded originally, the 6, and then you've got the 2 there, you're adding, and then you count them up and see 8/9. Right, let's look at the next question. Okay, so this one is, what is the missing value? So here you have 1/6, here you have the missing value, and here you have 1. So your total is 1. So 1/6 and something is 1 whole. So pause the video, decide what you think the answer is, A, B, C, or D, and then restart the video to see if you are correct. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways of thinking of this. So we have 1 whole, which is the same as 1/6 plus what? We know there's 6 sixths in 1 whole, so 1/6 plus 5 sixths is 6 sixths, which is a whole, or 1 whole minus 1/6, which is the same as saying 6 sixths minus 1/6, which is 5 sixths. So you can do addition or subtraction to work out that answer. Okay, let's look at the next question, which is the last one of these types before we do a slightly more familiar set of warm-up questions. So this is complete the number sentence. 3/7 add what equals 8/7. So pause the video, have a go at this question, and then restart it once you think you know the answer. Okay, so we have 8/7 here, so we've got an improper fraction because the top is bigger than the bottom. So 3 and what is 8? Remember, the denominators stay the same. That's going to be 7ths. They're all going to be 7ths. So 3 add what is 8? 3 add 5 is 8. So the answer is B, 5/7. Okay, we've got 3 questions here. So we have this question, this one, and this one. So what is the answer to this? What is the answer to this? Remember, making the denominators the same before you add it. What is the answer to this? This is looking at equivalent fractions here. Equivalent fractions, so this bar is actually for this question if you want to use it. So pause the video and see how you get on. Okay, so number 1 is just asking you to add those 3 numbers together. You might have done kind of addition, or you might have noticed something. You might have noticed that 54 add 46 is in fact 100, and then all you do is 100 add 77, which is 177. Okay, the next one, you have 2/3 add 1/12 add 1/6. Remember, before you add, subtract your fractions, you need to make sure the denominators are the same. At the moment they are not, but we can make them all equal 12ths. So 2/3 is the same as 8/12 because to get from 3 to 12 you multiply it by 4 so that we can have the same denominator. Whatever you do to the bottom you do to the top. 2 times 4 is 8. So 2/3 is the same as 8/12. 1/6, which you times 6 by to get to 12. Multiply it by 2, so 6 times 2 is 12. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 1 times 2 is 12. So now we have 8/12, add 1/12, which is 9/12, add 2 more 12ths, which is 11/12. So this is just showing you that visually. The answer is 11/12. So here, the last question, question 3, looking at equivalent fractions again. So all these have got the equal sign, so they're all the same value. So remembering, whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. So what do you times 7 by to get to 21? Multiply it by 3. So if this is times by 3, you times the top by 3 as well. And 3 times 3 is 9. Let's change my pen colour. Okay, the next one, to work out the equivalent here, you need to go back to the beginning because you can't multiply 9 to get 15, but it's equivalent to this one as well. So what do you times 3 by to get to 15? Times it by 5. Whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. 7 times 5 is 35. So well done if you got those. Okay, so let's move on to today's questions. So we're adding 3 fractions here. We have 3/16, add 1/4, add 1/2. So today's got to be a lot of making the denominators the same to find your answer. So here we have 3/16. We need to work out what 1/4 is in 16ths and what 1/2 is in 16ths. So 1/4 in 16ths is 4/16 because you multiply 4 by 4 to get 16. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 1 times 4 is 4. And then to get to 16ths from this half, you multiply 2 by 8, which means you also multiply the top by 8. 1 times 8 is 8. Another way to think of this is what is a half in 16? So 8 out of 16 would be the same as a half. And then you just add these together. So 3 plus 4 plus 8, because the denominators stay the same. So we're always going to be working in 16ths. So we can simplify at the end. So 3 plus 4, which is 7, plus 8. You can see there's only one left, not shaded. So we can have 15/16. Right, so this is the same type of question. And you can see by the number of parts it's divided up into what it wants you to make the denominator. It wants you to make the denominator 24. So what is 1/2 in 24ths? What is 1/6 in 24ths? And then add them together, see what answer you get. So pause the video and have a go at that question. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So 1/2 is the same as 12/24, so 12 is half of 24, or what do you do to 2 to get to 24? You multiply it by 12. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 1 times 12 is 12. And then we've got 6. What do you do to 6 to get to 24? You multiply it by 4, so 6 times 4 is 24. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 1 times 4 is 24. So you have 12/24 plus 4/24 plus 3/24. So let's put those in. We can see that we have 19/24. So well done if you got that. Okay, so a similar type of question of looking at adding 3 or more fractions. What about making those denominators the same? We're just going to look at it represented slightly differently. So Dexter eats 3/14 of a cake. Eva eats 1/7 of the same cake. So you might already be thinking, how do I make that 7 equal 14? So we get an equivalent fraction in 14ths. Mo eats 1/2 of the same cake. So how would you write 1/2 as a fraction? And then how would you change it into 14ths? How much of the cake is eaten? So you can think about that, see what answer you get. So you can pause the video and have a go. I'm going to look at this. So 3/14 plus 1/7 plus 1/2. Okay, so here we have it in 14ths, and I'll quickly go through how we do that. So we want 7ths into 14ths. We know that 7 times 2 is 14. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 1 times 2 is 2. So here we have 1/7 is the same as 2/14. 1/2, we know that 7 is half of 14, so it's 7/14, or you times 2 by 7 to get 14, which means you have to times 1 by 7, because whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So we end up with 3/14, add 2/14, add 7/14, which equals 12/14. And then, because they're both in the 2 times table, you can do what's called simplifying your fractions. So if you divide the top and the bottom by 2, you get 6/7. Okay, and then this is just showing it as a part whole model, which we won't really use very often, but I'm just going to show it to you. So 6/7 is the answer, and we know that if you add those 3 fractions that we started with together, you'll get 6/7. Okay, this is a good time to pause and have a go at questions 1 to 4 on the worksheets. And then I'm going to continue going through another question. Okay, here we have 7/30 plus 1/6 plus something fifths equals 3/5. So we need to make the denominators the same. So that's what we started to do here. So 7/30, we need it in 30ths. We want to do a 6 to make it equal 30, times it by 5. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So here we've got 5 to 30. Once again, we know we times that by 6. So when we work that out, we need to know that that's been times by 6, because we're going to have to go work backwards at the end to work out what this number is. So 7/30 plus 5/30 plus something 30ths equals 3/5. So we need to say this in 30ths as well. So this 5 times 6 is 30, so 3 times 6 as well. So we know that 7 plus 5 plus something is 18. Seven plus 5 is 13. Is it? 7 plus 5 is 12. Well done if you spotted that. 7 plus 5 is 12, because 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 2 more is 12. And then you need 6 more to make up those 18. So 7 plus 5 plus 6 is 18. So here we now have 6/30. But remember, we wanted our answer in fifths. So we went timesing 6 here. So we need to go backwards, and just change my pen colour so it's a bit more obvious what I'm doing. So this 6, we need to go backwards now to get our 30ths into fifths. So 6, remember we times by 6, so we have to divide by 6. From 30 to 5, we're dividing by 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. So the answer is 1 for our missing number box. So 7/30 plus 1/6 plus 1/5 equals 3/5. Okay, so this is another very similar question. So something 14ths plus 8/28 plus 1/7 equals 5/7. So you need to make those denominators the same before you can work out what that missing number is. Okay, so we're going to go a slightly different route here. We're going to make it into 7ths, because I know that I can divide 28 by 4 to get 7, and 8 is divisible by 4. So we can go for the divide method. You could, if you wanted to, multiply up these ones to get 28ths, but this time we're just going to look at a slightly different method, which is division. So 8/28 is 2/7, because 28 divided by 4, 7, 8 divided by 4, whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom, is 2. So we need this in 7th. Oh, it's already done. We need this in 7th. Oh, it's already done. Fantastic. So we have 2 sevenths plus 1 seventh plus something sevenths equals 5 sevenths. So 2 plus 1 is 3, so you need another 2 to equal 5. So 2 sevenths plus 2 sevenths, 1 seventh equals 5 sevenths. But remember, we want it in 14ths. So 7 times 2 is 14. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So 2 times 2 going to be 4. So 4 14ths plus 8 28ths plus 1 seventh equals 5 sevenths. If you did that where you worked it out in 28ths and then divided it to get to 14ths, that's absolutely fine. That's just a different method, a different approach. Again, the same answer. Okay, your activity has been assigned to you on Teams, and the worksheets were put up yesterday on Tapestry. So have a go at those, let us know how to get on, and if you do have any questions, that's what the live feedback sessions are for, so make sure you come along and ask your question. Thank you very much for listening.